Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Rat Race. My name is Tutor Charles Theodore Monk. If you guys can hear me, please type something in the chat, whether that's hello, how are you, or just confirm that I can hear you, and we can continue in this presentation. So, for those of you guys who are here and listening in today, please type something in the chat, whether that's hello or how are you doing, and or even yes, something as simple as yes. If you guys would like to do that, then go ahead and type a hello or something in the chat. That way I can know I can hear you guys and we can continue from there. Hello, I can see someone who put it in the chat. Nice to see you. Anyone else there who would be willing to help me out like that, I would greatly appreciate it. That way you guys are hearing what I am going to be discussing in this presentation, if you will. So if anybody else would like to do that, that'd be awesome. If not, that's all right. And I'll just move on to the next part of this presentation. So I'll give about 10 more seconds if anybody else would like to do that. If not, that is no issue at all. All right, so I will guess I'll just begin now and get straight into this presentation. So today we will be discussing the rat race. Now, what is the rat race? Before we get into that, I will just give you guys some little background. So this presentation will be about a half-hour long. We are going to learn some financial terms and some terms like the rat race. What does that mean? As well as some money idioms and some money quotes towards the end of the lesson. Like I said, it will be about a half-hour long. So we're about let's say like 28 minutes left, roughly around there. And if you guys have any questions, please save that till the end. So to begin, what is the rat race? So the rat race is a endless, self-defeating, pointless pursuit of material wealth. In many situations, that's what a lot of people find themselves doing, is pursuing money over pursuing anything else. So the way the illustration is kind of set is that the rats go and try to chase the cheese, but the cheese always never satisfies them, and they always try to continue to find more cheese. That's kind of how it illustrates to us as humans that we would love to go and kind of get new material things, new money, like a new amount of money, or a new house, a new car, new clothes. But we always will never be satisfied with that. So here is this very famous quote based on the rat race, and it says, "A person who is in a constant rat race seldom has time to think whether or not he is living his life properly." So that is simply saying that a person who is in a rat race never has time to think and just sit there and be grateful for what they have, right? We have some people have a house, some people have very nice houses, nice cars, family, friends, and we're alive. Like that is something that a lot of people don't acknowledge. So what this person is saying in this quote is that people um, have not really had the opportunity to kind of sit there and be like, oh wow, like I am so privileged to have what I have. So it's kind of like a whole gratification, finding like a person's gratification in that instance. So now we will dive into why do we spend so much. So if you had unlimited money, what is one thing you would like to buy? Just one thing. Like you could have all the money in the world, but you're only allowed to buy one thing in the world. What would that thing be? If you guys have any of those, put that in the chat. It just kind of has a more like an experience between both of us and all the people who are there. We'll kind of know a little bit. My answer would be, for sure, I would love to buy a Camaro, like a Chevrolet Camaro, which is a kind of car. I was really obsessed with like the show Transformers when I was younger, and I love the movies as well. And one of the characters, his name is Bumblebee, and he's a Camaro. That's what he can transform into. So that is why I would buy a Camaro. So now we're going to talk about what influences what we spend. So the first one is our exposure. So what we are exposed to influences what we want to buy. So it could be things like, our family, our friends. Oh, Daria wants a bigger apartment for sure. Yeah, that is something that a lot of people would like a bigger house, right? Well, let's get back into this exposure, right? So exposure typically means what you are exposed to, made by your friends, your family, and a big influencer today is social media. What we see on our social media is kind of influence, and it's what we are exposed to. So it gets in our head that we kind of need to buy these material things, or these new cars, these new clothes, right? So what we are exposed to influences what we want to buy, as well as our influences. What we let influence us makes us who we are, right? So if you let celebrities influence you, depending on the celebrity, you might turn and try to act like them. If you let your parents influence you, if you let your friends influence you, our influences dictate who we are as people. So that's very careful. You have to be very, very careful on who you let influence and what let influence you, right? Are you one of those people that doesn't really have that filter, right? If you block out that negative influence in your life, that is awesome, right? Some people have a little bit of a harder time doing that. That is okay. That is nothing to worry about. But our influences is one of the biggest issues that that changed kind of our whole money spending idea. And since we are talking about the rat race, there is a short film currently on YouTube. It's called The Rat Race, a short film story by Steve Cuts. Essentially, what it shows in in that little short film, it's about like 5 to 10 minutes long. What it shows there is kind of how we are portrayed as rats. That's the whole rat race, right? We have this endless need and desire for material things. So what he is saying in this little short film, it shows that we are rats. We are constantly chasing after what's new, what is better. We want more better material things. We want more material wealth, right? And we don't take the time of our day to kind of be grateful for what we have and what we do possess, right? So for sure, that is a very interesting video to watch. If you guys want to watch that in your free time, go ahead. So for me, why I want to talk about this topic is I took a class last year in school called business mathematics. It was a optional course. I just had to take it because I was kind of interested on the whole mathematical money side. So I learned about money terms, money, the way money is handled, investments, percentages of money you will get back, money that you will earn, and I kind of started like really thinking to myself, am I financially okay? Like, am I good with my finances? So before we dive into the rest of that, we are going to talk about some financial terms. So we have four main terms that we will kind of cover today. The first one is our income. So our income is what money we make from either from work or from gifts or from some sort of government checks if you can't work. So our income, the money that we make, right? Whether that is from, like I said earlier, work, gifts, or another source of income or another source of money, that is considered our income. Another term that we will discuss is something called spending. So spending is simply what we put our money towards and what we put our money after, right? For some people who are older and getting a kind of more responsibility, some of our spending includes, grocery bills, house bills, car bills, transportation issues, electricity at our house, internet, our devices, right? That's kind of what we spend our money on. And for younger people who do not have that kind of requirement to spend on bills and everything, a very popular thing people will put their money towards is food, video games, another thing like that. And another very popular thing that people will spend their money towards is their hobbies, right? So everybody has a little hobby, and that is nothing to be ashamed of. Everybody has things they like. But the question to ask yourself is, do you controllably buy your hobbies, or do your hobbies, right? And are you grateful for what you already have, or do you always find yourself constantly wanting more and more of that thing that you call your hobby? And the next term we will discuss is our savings. So savings is the money that we decide to keep in our possession and not kind of spend. Whether we are saving, if you are younger, you are saving your money for school, or you are saving for, trying to buy a house, trying to move out of your parents' house and buy your own apartment. For people who have responsibilities, savings could be, we want to buy a new house, we want to move out of our apartment, get a house, or we want a bigger apartment, or we simply want to move out on our own. We will put money and save it there as well. Another very popular thing people save for is for their future, whether that could be their children's future or their future as well. Maybe somebody wants to go spend a few weeks on a holiday destination or holiday vacation, right? That is completely okay, right? So savings is the money that we kind of keep there because we have a purpose to put that money towards. And the last term we will discuss is investing. So what is investing? So investing is simply putting your money towards something, expecting a bigger return back, right? So for example, if I invest, let's say, $1, I expect to make back $1.10. So I got 10% profit from my investment, right? That is kind of what investing is. You have to be very careful though with what you invest in. You have to do your research, right? To make sure that the money you are putting in there, you will get a bigger return for. But these are some of the most popular financial terms that somebody will encounter when it comes to the English language. So it's very good to know this, right? So now we will move on to the next part. Now, we are sadly, as a world population, on the downtrack. So it's something to ask yourself: are we really bad with money? Am I really bad with money? And like, remember how I talked about earlier what we let influence us. A very popular influencer is North American culture, right? The United States. We watch Hollywood, we watch all those movies, and we let those movies influence us. And sadly, in North America right now, people from age 30 to age 49 have more debt than they do have savings. So they actually have more money that they have to pay back to maybe the bank or to other people who have invested in them more than they have money for themselves. And in Canada, in fact, that is the country that I am from. I live in Canada. And in Canada, a crazy statistic is that most Canadians spend $1.40 for every dollar that we earn. That is insane. That is 40% more than we earn. And you're like, how do you spend more money than you make? That is from, loans. You can take a loan out of the bank, let's say for $5,000, and you only make, let's say, like $2,000. You spend 40% more than those $2,000 that you earn from loans or from friends or something like that. And that is crazy statistic to just even think about, right? How bad we are with our money. And it's actually seeping into the rest of the world where people are slowly and slowly becoming more and more in debt than saving. So how do we change that, right? We have to change that. We will discuss that in a little bit. Now, a big contributor to why people are in debt is something called what the hell effect. Now, like, what is the what the hell effect? So the what the hell effect is simply something when people already owe a lot of money, they're just like, what the hell? I don't have to spend. I don't have to save this money. I am just going to go spend it, right? So when you are already in debt, you're like, I'm already in debt. What's gonna be a couple hundred more dollars in debt, right? I'll be able to pay it off eventually, and that is a very huge contributor to why people are in debt today. And a very big contribution as well are our addiction. So that could be a shopping addiction, right? Or a hobby addiction or a food addiction, right? It's that we are addicted to where we spend all our money towards. And the reason that we have these addictions is sometimes we want a better life, right? If I get this car, I will have a better life. If I get this house, I will look better in front of people. Or if we say, I get these new material things, I will look better than people. And we are never satisfied with having, I guess, what we have, right? Which is a very big issue that a lot of people do not address. Another very impactful thing with addictions is our comfort spending. So when we're sad, we'll just go on a little shopping spree, right? And we might end up spending a lot of money without even realizing how much money we spend, because we think that our material things will replace us for our happiness, which is kind of not the case for a lot of people. Some people have millions and millions of dollars, but they are not happy, right? So addictions are comfort spending. The what the hell effect is what is influencing us as a world, and not even different countries, like people all over the world are going on a down track with their money. So simply the question is, how do we improve for this? And it all starts with you. There's a very famous quote by Jeff Bridges, and he says, "The way to change the world is through individual responsibility and take a local action in your own community." So, what he is saying that the biggest way to change the world is for you to do something about it, for you to use what you know for yourself, right? For he's saying, if you know how to be financially good, practice it, right? And especially when it comes to money, if you know how to do it, practice it, become better, because when people see you doing good with your money, you will influence other people. And simply, there's another quote that somebody else mentioned before, that one person practicing something is better than 100 people knowing about something, right? If you know about something without practicing it, it is very, very useless, right? So if you know how to be financially well, be financially well, right? Be financially stable, if you can say that. So now we will talk about the plan, right? What is our plan? How are we going to get better? So the first thing you have to really kind of do is take time to sit and look at your finances, right? So you'll sit down and be like, okay, I make this amount of money each month. So this I know I'm going to make, right? Or I make roughly around this much, and keep track of everything, right? If you know you are going to spend, right, you can sit down and be like, okay, I have, let's say, this much money that I have to pay on bills. I have this much money I have to, give to my parents, or I have to pay rent, right? Or something like that. Keep track of where your money goes, and you will see where your addictions lie. If you keep track, you will see that, oh, maybe I spend a lot of money on food. Maybe I spend a lot of unnecessary money on new clothes every single week, every single month, unnecessarily having to spend that. That is very important. You have to keep track of everything, right? That has to be the main, let's say, plan, if you will, right? You have to keep track of where your money goes. And another very important part of the whole plan scenario is the normal versus what can actually help us, right? When that comes to that, something such as the normal way when it comes to money is we spend money, then we earn the money, and then we save whatever little is left, right? So, for example, yeah, you heard how I say we spend the money before we earn the money. That is how people get in a lot of financial gray areas and financial troubles. Is they spend money they do not earn, right? They do not earn. Why do we spend this money? We don't know. If you don't keep track of where your money goes, you don't know why you spend it, right? So here's talking about the normal is you spend it, then you earn money, then you save. Um, what can actually help a lot of people, it's not necessary, but what helps a lot of people is you earn money, you save money, and then you spend the money. So this is where taking time to sit down and actually go over your financial situation can be such a big help and big opportunity for a lot of people to get financially well, right? No matter what financial situation you are in, if you make a little amount of money or a lot amount of money, everybody can be financially okay. It just depends how you use your money, right? And how you are dedicated to being better financially. And another very, very helpful way to help your financial plan to get back on track is to get some helpful resources. There are financial coaches, right? They will teach you, okay, this is how you can get financially well with the situation you have, right? There are applications you can find all over the internet, or you can find it in like the App Store or the Google Play Store, depending on what cellular device you have, where it helps keep track of your money, right? You will enter an amount, let's say, for example, you have a category of food. You have $100 a month to spend on food. And every single time you spend money on food, you will enter that into that category, and it will deduct it. So if I have $100 on food and then I spend $22 on my grocery, I am left with $78 for the rest of the month to spend on food, right? Or the rest of the week, depending on how you want to do it, right? Depending on your financial needs or your areas of need where your finances are going. So get some helpful resources, right? Get some friends, or get some financial coaching or applications. It's a lot easier than a lot of people think to get some help for our finances, right? It depends on how well you want it. How well do you want to get better, right? How much more do you want to strive to be financially well? Like I said, it doesn't matter what financial area you are in. you can always do your best to get financially well, right? You can be financially well no matter what situation is. Of course, there are a lot of people who have financial struggles, and that is okay. Everybody has their issues, but you can always think about, how can I make my situation better, right? Maybe I have to spend less money going out with my friends and keep that money in my bank account to help with the future, or put money from one area into another area that needs the money more than that other area needs, right? Like I said, going out with friends is fun, but can you afford going out with friends all the time but not being able to pay your bills on time? That is a very important question for a lot of people. Now, it is all comes down to a personal decision. It all comes down to you, right? Like I said, how well do you want to be financially? So identify the difference with the needs and the wants, right? Do I really need this? Do I really need to go, like, buy another item of clothing this week, or do I need to go out again with my friends this week? And that is a want, right? Maybe it's a hobby. Do I need to go buy? For me, I am a very big shoe person. I love shoes. That is my hobby. And so I always have to ask myself is, am I financially okay? I spend the money to go buy a new pair of shoes, or that is a want. It's simply a want, right? It's not a necessity in life. It is a privilege to have even one pair of shoes, because a lot of people have the issue to just have one. So I have to be very careful on how I spend on my hobbies, because I want to be financially well. And you have needs, of course, right? Like I said, your bills and other things that your money has to go towards to, right? And you can always cut down on your needs, right? Maybe you don't need that expensive phone plan, but you do need a phone. So you can get a cheaper phone plan. You just won't be able to do as much as you have been doing. And the last area to kind of very, very, very important to think about is, do you need to spend it or do you need to save it, right? Do I have a future? Do I want to go to school? Maybe I should save money. Do I want to go on a holiday destination? Maybe I should save the money. Or if you don't have anything you need to spend money for, spend it. But it's always very wise to get some rainy day money. Maybe you might lose a job. Maybe someone in your family might get ill, right? You all come to a crossroads on your decisions. It's a personal decision on how well you want to be financially, right? Like that picture, the man has two roads. He has a decision to make. Does he want to spend the money, or does he want to save it? Is it a need or is it a want? How am I going to get financially well? So now we will talk about some money idioms. Idioms are a very popular thing in the English language. So when it comes to learning a language, you might hear these a lot when it comes to money topics in the English language. So the first one is born with a silver spoon in one's mouth. What does that mean? So simply it means someone who is born with privilege, right? So you are born into a rich family. You might be born into, a family with millions of dollars. So if that is the case, you are born with a silver spoon in your mouth. It's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Like, it's a privilege to be able to be born into a financial situation like that. So simply when someone says to be born with a silver spoon in one's mouth, that means that you are born into a richer family, or a family that is very well off and comfortable. And the next one is probably one of the most popular idioms you will ever hear, and that is from rags to riches. What does that mean? So from rags to riches simply means going from a very bad financial area or a financial situation to a great financial situation. That can be done by making decisions, investing smart, or saving your money, or getting an amazing job, right? You can go from being bad financially to being awesome financially. So that is from rags to riches. And the next term is pay an arm and a leg, right? So when you pay an arm and a leg, that simply means that it costs a lot of money, right? You are basically feel like you are cutting off your arm and your leg and you are giving it to, hey, like this is a lot of money. And so that's what it means to pay an arm and a leg. And the next idiom we will discuss is a penny pincher. What is a penny pincher? So a penny pincher is a person who is very, very, very protective over every single cent in their bank account or in their financial area, right? They were like, oh, this will cost 5 cents. I'm not going to spend the money. Or I'm not going to tip the very nice waiter or waitress at the restaurant because I just don't want to give them that little extra dollar or a little extra little bit. That is a penny pincher. A person who is very, very self-conscious of their money. And the last one is a bread and butter. What does that mean? So a person's bread and butter is simply what they do for finances, what they do for money, right? So for my bread and butter, I am an English tutor. What are other people's bread and butter, right? Maybe you are a businessman, maybe you are a lawyer, maybe you are a teacher. It all depends, right? Everybody else has their talents. Every person has their individual talents, and those talents can be put towards a person's bread and butter. So I hope that helped you guys understand some very creative idioms when it comes to money. Those could be very helpful. You can practice those on your own for sure. And now we will discuss a few quotes about money, and they're actually very interesting. So this first one by Lily Tomlin is, "The trouble with being in the rat race is that even if you win, you are still a rat." So he is saying that even if you win the rat race, right? Like how I said, the rat race is an illustration where a rat is constantly chasing after cheese, right? He's always like, I want more cheese. So even if you win the rat race, if you win all the money in the world, you are still a person who is desiring more and more money and not being grateful or even acknowledging the beautiful things that somebody has in this. Okay, now, Anna, I will answer your question in a little bit. Just hold on, and I will be able to answer that for you. Just give me a few more minutes, and I will answer that question for you. No worries at all. Now, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having great wants, right? So he is saying that you have desires, you want things to happen for you, whether that could be to be good financially or to be bad financially, right? So he's saying it doesn't demand on how many possessions you have. You can have all the possessions in the world, but if you have no desire or want to get better, you should not be considered wealthy. And the next quote we will talk about is probably my very favorite quote we will discuss, and it is by Steve Martin. He says, "I love money. I love everything about it. I bought some pretty good stuff. Got me a $300 pair of socks, got a fur sink, an electric dog polisher, a gasoline powered turtleneck sweater, and of course, I bought some dumb stuff too." So what he is saying simply here is that love for money will lead to some very bad financial spending, right? He said $300 on a pair of socks. You can buy socks for like $2. Who needs $300 pair of socks? You don't need those. That's not necessary. Is it nice? Okay, sure, if it's super comfortable. But when you have a constant desire for a love of money, it can lead to some bad financial decisions, right? He also bought a fur sink, an electric dog polisher, and a gas-powered turtleneck. He's simply saying, I bought some dumb stuff because I only loved money. And this last quote is so good. He's saying, the real measure of your wealth is how much you'd be worth if you lost all your money. It's by an anonymous person we do not know, but he is simply saying that your real measure of your wealth is in who you should be as a person, right? Do people love you? Do you love people? Do you care for other people? Do you genuinely want to help other people? If you lost all your money in the world, would you still have friends? Would you still have family, right? That should be the real measure of wealth. And that brings us to this little Q&A section, guys. It's been so good having this little presentation. And now, Anna, I will answer your question. You said, could you repeat how we call money kept in case of a difficult situation? So that is something that is called rainy day money, right? So he is saying rainy day money, simply like when it's rainy outside, it's gloomy, it's cold, and no one likes rainy days. They could be very effective for if someone wants to go outside. You can't go outside because it's a rainy day. So simply that whole you could say it is an idiom if you want. It is rainy day money. It's money that we keep in case of a difficult situation. Maybe you lose a job, a family member gets sick, maybe you get sick or get in an accident. You have the money there to be able to pay to keep you afloat while you are in that difficult situation. And guys, keep in mind, you can always get out of those difficult situations. Those difficult situations do not control you as a person. It is all up to you how good you want to be financially well. Yes, Anna, it is rainy day money. That is correct. That is correct. Awesome job, guys. We are about to hit the end of the lesson. But before we do that, I have a couple polls to throw up for you guys. This will just help us understand if this was helpful for you guys. How useful? Did you learn some new things? Was it quite useful? Yeah, guys, please fill out this out, and it will just help me as well to be able to kind of, I guess, understand what you guys want, what you guys are interested in. All right, awesome. Thank you guys for giving the feedback. That is great. Anything else that you guys would like? I'll give a couple more, throw up one more poll, and we will be done. All right. So let me just throw this next poll up, and I will throw it up for you guys. And we are about to finish up. And we will be done. So this is the last poll that is up. If you guys would love to take part in a similar event like this in the future, that is awesome. If not, that is okay too. There's no worries with this. It is just for helpful for us to be able to know if you guys liked it, if it was interesting. If not, that is no problem at all. Yeah. So guys, we are about to wrap up this poll. And it was great to be able to do this with you guys. I enjoyed it so much. All right, so I will end that poll. Thank you guys for filling it out. That was a very, very big privilege. All right, so please follow Tutlo on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Keep in touch with the English community. It will help you have that motivation to learn some more English. And I do have to say goodbye, but it was awesome to do this with you guys. Thank you for being involved. I enjoy doing these. Like I said, my name is Charles Theodore Monk. I am a Tutlo tutor, and I hope I get to see you guys again in the future, whether that's through a presentation or through a class. It's an absolute privilege to do this with you guys. Take care, and I hope to see you guys again in the future. Goodbye.